Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to demonstrate how we can set up self-registration guest portal for wireless users using Cisco wireless controller and Cisco ISE. When you go to some public places like shopping malls or airports, you have seen this type of portal when you try to connect to their free Wi-Fi or free wireless network. So you do not require any password. You just tap on the SSID, a page pop-ups. It asks you for your information. Normally, it is your first name, last name, email ID, mobile number. You fill up all the information, and then you get registered and get internet access. Okay, same thing we are going to implement here today. So let me first explain you the flow because by understanding this flow, the configuration will get easy. Okay, so if you see this diagram, so end user using laptop or mobile try to connect to a guest SSID. So it initiates an initial access request. This request goes to access point, then wireless controller. As wireless controller is connected to ICE, so wireless controller send this initial request as a MAB request to ICE. MAB is basically what? The MAC address of endpoint, laptop or iPhone or any mobile MAC address. So when ICE receive this MAP request, in return, it authenticates it and then give initial authorization response along with ACL and URL redirect to ICE. Means it sends a URL of the web page where user can get registered. So sometimes you ought to see automatically a new page, a registration page pop up, or you have to go to your browser, type Google, and then it will direct you to the ICE page where you can register. So when you get yourself registered and then put username and password for login, then your username and password directly goes to ICE. ICE authenticates that user and password, and then in return it gives your end device as a full access. So the are first two lines, this communication is totally layer 2. Till this point, there is no IP address given to your endpoint. After this response from Cisco ISE uh, and the beginning of this third line and fourth line, your endpoint will get IP but without internet access. Because for internet access, this authentication, a username and password should be authenticated from ICE. Then you will be able to get full access and you will be able to reach internet. So let's start. First, we will start with uh, wireless controllers. Okay. So I have already done the configuration. I will show you how we can configure it. So I will go to WLANs. I have created one WLAN with the name of guest. This is my SSID name and this is my WLAN ID. This WLAN ID you have to remember because it is very important. It will be used in configuration on Cisco ISE. Okay, so and I enable it. Then in the security tab, what I did, I disabled layer 2 none, and under this option I enabled this MAC filtering enabled, and authorization list I have added ICE authorization. These ICE servers we have added. If you see my last video, I have already added ICE server as a NAC, as an authentication and authorization server in this wireless controller. Okay, so I will select here ICE authorization, and then I'll create a policy. As we know, in this wireless controller, we require a policy to bind VLAN to your SSID. So this wireless guest policy I have created. In this policy, what I did, just on the first page, I make status as enable. Then access policies, I have selected my guest VLAN here. And then in advanced, if I scroll down, I enable this option, allow AAA override. NAC state, and accounting list ICE accounting. Okay, so this server I have created. So if I show you my AAA settings, so I have radius server, NAC, ICE NAC. This is my server which I have already and showed you in the last video. And in authentication method list, in authentication, I have these settings, .1x group, and I selected the server which I have created. Authorization also have this same server, ICE server, and accounting also have same server. And now in advance, the same setting we used in last video. So local authentication method list is ICE authentication, local authorization method list is ICE authorization. Okay. So what I did, I create a WLAN, a new WLAN as a guest. Then under policy, I created a policy for guest. And the new thing is I went to advanced and select these options. Allow AAA override, next state, and accounting list as ICE account. Then under tags, I have attached this guest WLAN to guest wireless guest policy profile. So now my policy is binded, VLAN policy and NAC policy is binded to my WLAN. Okay. Next step is I go to configuration, web authentication, global. So initially when we did web authentication, so we given one virtual IP here. So in the video where we were using local web authentication on the controller, we given one IP address, virtual IP address here. But now as the portal authentication and registration portal will be from ICE, then no need of IP here. We just select this option, web authentication intercept HTTPS. Okay. And one and last thing, which is very, very important, if I go to configuration under security ACL, so I have to create an ACL for redirection. Okay. In this ACL, I have to put these 5 lines. First one, deny source any, and destination IP would be IP of my ICE server. Second line, from source from ICE to any, and protocol will be IP for these 2 lines. Then deny any UDP, and deny that is one for, if you see here, then I denied flow for DNS, both direction, and then permit any for rest of the traffic. So when you do deny, so only this traffic like communication with ICE server and communication with the DNS or domain server will be allowed, and the permit any it will deny. It's the opposite thing. Like when which things you put in deny will be part of redirection, will be redirected, that flow will be redirected, and what thing you put in the permit, so that traffic will be dropped in this uh, guest registration communication. Okay, so these are all the configuration which we have to do on wireless controller. I will go to Cisco ISE. So first and most important thing, we have to create a portal. Okay, so if I go here in work centers, portal and components, guest portals. So I have some already configured or default portals here. So I am going to use this one. All the settings I kept it default. Nothing I have changed because this portal is like what you see when you are when you are pop up a web page. So this page you will see, and here you can register and authentication you can do from here this page. Okay, so this is the portal. So next thing would be I will go to policy. I will create a policy. So policy elements, policy results, authorization profile, and here I will create a guest portal. So in this guest portal authorization profile, if I scroll down, so I have selected this web redirection, CWA, MDM, this option, and here I selected centralized web authentication. Under ACL, I have put the exact name of the ACL I created on wireless LAN controller. If you see here, ICE underscore redirect, same name I have given here. So this when if what we discussed initially about the flow, so the redirection request will come from ICE and ICE will ask wireless controller to apply this redirection ACL to the session of wireless guest. And then under value, I have selected my portal which I have shown you, and here static IP. So I put this IP because this is my web authentication or registration web registration portal. Okay, so next thing, I have created portal. I have created this. Now I will create a policy. So I will go work centers, policy sets. Okay. Under default policy, authentication policy will be same as I shown you in the flow. It will be, this flow will be called as authentication of this flow will be as a wireless map, and in wireless map under this option we have to select if user not found, continue, because initially there is no username and password. The MAC address authentication request will come to ICE, and ICE will authenticate it and send it to authorization policy. Under authorization, I have created this policy for guest portal assignment or guest portal redirection. In this authorization policy, my condition is if user is coming from wireless map and it's it is the part, and this request or user request is coming from a particular SSID, WLAN ID, and its ID name equal to 4, means the ID, if any request, map request is hitting up to ICE through this the WLAN ID 4. If I show you here, my guest VLAN, the ID is 4. So any request coming from this particular SSID, and it should be a mapped request. And what result would be guest portal. Guest portal, what was inside guest portal? Redirection and the portal, the default portal we created. So after this authorization policy, the first authorization policy, these 1, 2, 3, 4, these steps will be completed. User will be able to see a pop-up portal or registration portal or authentication portal. And then when user put a username and password, it again comes to ICE. If you see here, this request username password authentication request will come to ICE. So this time it is for this authentication or to give access to user. So I have created this authorization policy. This is guest access. So it means if user is from guest flow means first user get the map request, get the portal, then get registered, and then now coming again with username and password. So this all flow is called guest flow. So if it is a guest flow and request is wireless map, then permit access. I hope you understand it. Now I will pause a video. pause this video for some time and I will do the verification and show it back. So here is the verification. So you can see my SSID MSN the MSN guest. So when I tap here, it was already added to my phone. So I did forget network and now again I try to connect to it. So here the redirection happened and I landed to registration page. Here I am giving my required information. So this information under the portal, you can make it compulsory or you can make it optional. Okay, so if it is compulsory, then you cannot move forward without filling that information. All the information is filled. Now click to registration. Please ignore this message because my server is not connected to email server. So that's why it is giving that error. So now and everything is successful. I already got the IP. Because of IP, I got access to the registration portal, and here you can see the internet is working.